let's jump to Monday night. Rams at Packers. Baker's about to bake. Who do you like in the captain spot?
So I like Aaron Jones here. He was limited due to a shin injury in their week 13 game against the Bears. But he should be much closer to 100%, I'm assuming, following their bye week. And we've seen the Packers just commit to him as a workhorse back when he's been healthy this season. So while this is a tougher matchup on the ground, the Rams rank 5th in DVOA against the run. It should be a bit easier if Aaron Donald is ruled out again. Plus, they could just use Aaron Jones in the passing game as sort of an extension of the run game. Either way, he has just a massive ceiling on a one-game slate. So I'm going to have to go with Aaron Jones here.
Yeah, it's it. I mean, what do you think of Dylan? Because, Dylan was kind of bumping up in usage he was kind of out of the picture most of the year, not doing as much as we thought he would. And these last couple of weeks, it seemed like he started to get a bigger and bigger role. So you think that was just kind of because Jones was a little banged up, or?
Yeah, just based on how they've been using him all season, I think that was absolutely the case. I would not be surprised. I've been surprised this year how little they've used AJ Dillon. He and Kareem Hunt were pretty big busts for me right now. I love taking those backup running backs with upside, but neither one has had a big enough role to be, an RB3 or even flex in fantasy. So yeah, maybe after I think Dillon's great. But the way they've been using him, they just want to lean on Aaron Jones. Maybe that changed after the bye, but I still think that Aaron Jones is going to be fresh. So we'll see him, return to more of the workhorse role we saw earlier in the season.
I'm going with Christian Watson in the captain spot. Still love this guy. All he does is score touchdowns, but now the underlying metrics are starting to match up, so he's not just going to be touchdown dependent. He's running around over 90% of the dropbacks in 3 of his past 4 games. And we know the Rams play a ton of zone coverage. They're not really going to do anything crazy. They're not going to man up and do anything exotic. They're just going to play their zone, and that's what it's going to be. And Watson is the only Packer pass catcher with multiple touchdowns against zone coverage this season. And he's caught 15 to 20 passes against zone. Had 12 of 20, had a couple 3 drops, so it could be even better. I just think coming out of the bye, Aaron Rodgers says he's feeling better, Finger feeling better. I think this guy Watson is going to continue to explode on the scene. So got to have some Christian Watson exposure.
Yeah, they've been giving him design carry here or there. You'd figure after the bye, he's probably a lock to get at least one. But I would not be surprised if they start giving more, design rush attempts, because at the end of the day, you just want to get the ball in his hands. So I'm projecting closer to 1 carry. He's all the way up to my wide receiver 11 now, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, love his upside here. He's almost a no-brainer in the captain slot for this game.
Wide receiver 11. Does that mean you have over 0.5 touchdowns for him?
I have him at 0.5 exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I have him
Look at that.
0.46. So I'm right there.
Got to bump that up. Where do you have him ranked now?
18. So,
okay.
Still in the top 20, but yeah, 11. That's
yeah. That's because I have DeAndre Hopkins still down at like 20. I got to put Rondale Moore out. So maybe Watson will fall to 12 when I do the update.
I have Hopkins exactly at 12. So yeah,
okay, yeah.
That range for you too. Who do you like for dart throws?
All right, so obviously I won't be on any more Kyren Williams props or any Rams props the rest of the season. But I do like him as a dart throw here. And how many times have I been high on a guy and then 1 to 2 weeks later he just goes off? So I'm sticking with him here. I'm still interested at least in investing in his ceiling. And 1 game showdown slate and a GPP is the perfect time to do that. Again, I'm not saying to take the over on his receiving yards. That's a median prop. He doesn't have a high enough floor to do that. And just this backfield is so unpredictable with McVay and how he's been changing it up week to week. So it could easily swing Kyron's way. I'm not saying that will happen, but he does have a high ceiling if that does. And there should be a trailing game script. They're 7-point underdogs. So this is a game where he actually could end up having 3, maybe 5 receptions here. So I'm definitely going to have some flyers out there with Kyren Williams and GPPs. Hate to say it, but sticking with them. And then, man, on the Packers side, with Romeo Doubs potentially returning, this wide receiver situation is kind of tricky behind Lazard and Watson. I'll let you take a stab at that, but I'm going to just go with Robert Tonyan. And he has been quiet this year, but he's still running around, in the 65% range week to week. He hasn't scored a touchdown since week 4. So, there's a chance coming out of the bye. Maybe they want to get him more involved, especially in the red zone. And the Rams have allowed a touchdown to a tight end in 5 of the last 7 games. So there is a path here for Tonyan hitting. It's going to be him scoring a touchdown. So I think he is worth a dart throw, at least in a couple lineups. But outside of that, it's kind of murky how the Packers are going to handle the wide receiver rotation if Dobbs does return this week.
Yeah, Tonyan also is pretty good against zone coverage. Him and DeGuara. So
yeah, DeGuara, yeah.
Both of those guys, yeah, I would be on the lookout for a touchdown from those guys. Usually, you're not getting volume these days from these Packer tight ends with all the receivers healthy, as you mentioned. But one game slate, you could get a touchdown from either of those guys. But yeah, I like Randall Cobb in this spot. I don't think anything's going to change. I think it's going to be Watson, Lazard, Cobb, and Dobbs is going to go to the 4th wide receiver role into that Watkins, Teray role. Is probably going to run a route 25% of the time, number 4 wide receivers do, because to start the year, the Packers were searching for somebody to step up. But now, Lazard's back, Watson stepped up, and we know Rodgers loves Cobb in the slot. So Dobbs just goes back to what probably we thought he was going to be when he was drafted, which is the 4th receiver. So yeah, I don't think it's going to, Watkins potentially or Teray could be a scratch. I think you could see one of those two.
Yeah.
But as far as the top 3, I think it's going to pretty much remain the same. So
any clue, just real quick, just any clue why Cobb's routes run rate fell to 41% before the bye?
I think it was just who are they playing?
The Bears. And they were trailing too. They ended up winning by 9 points, but they were trailing for most of the game. So it was just kind of bizarre to see. Torrey.
Yeah, Torrey got 28. Yeah. I don't know.
So that was just fluky.
It's Randall Cobb. He might have got banged up. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
gotcha.
40, 60. I'm projecting him for 50, so it's
that's fair. Yeah,
it's kind of he's going to be in that range. That's just the life of a number 3 receiver in general. But and I like Teray as well. But again, I think he's at risk of being a scratch. But Cobb is the top Packers receiver in yards per route against zone coverage at 2.1, and the Rams again play the 3rd most zone in the league. So I do think Cobb can have some success here. And on the Rams side, love Tutu Atwell. His routes have gone from 47% 3 weeks ago to 51% 2 weeks ago, 63% last week. McVay's talking him up. He's got a 27% target rate per route and an average depth of target of 22. So a lot of different ways that he can score fantasy points. He's got 48 or more receiving yards in 4 of his last 6 games. And 36% of his catches have gone for 20 yards or more. So this guy's just a big play waiting to happen. But now, because the Rams are just so banged up, he's starting to get volume. And there's a good, he's probably, right up there with Skoranek and Jefferson, probably even as far as who could lead the team in receiving in this game and just going forward for the rest of the season. So I think Tutu Atwell is going to have a little mini breakout here. Was a 2nd round pick a year ago. They just really didn't get him on the field. They always had those veterans ahead of them, but now that everyone's hurt, McVay even said, "Hey, I kind of regretted not doing this sooner," but because he's really stepped up. So he's a guy I'm looking to continue to emerge. And we got a firsthand look at him. It looked pretty good. Drawing penalties, getting open downfield. Mayfield was going to him a lot, even though he just got there 2 days ago. So yeah, I think Atwell, if there's a random dude to just have crazy 5-game stretch to end the year that comes out of nowhere, Atwell would be my pick.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be that crazy. Like you said, he is a 2nd-round talent. He's got major speed. I'm sure if they had to do the draft over again, they would have taken Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was still on the board. But either way, he's talented. And yeah, this is the time you would think they would be looking to see what they have in Kyren Williams, looking to see what they have in Tutu Atwell. So yeah, he could definitely be unleashed here.
So you're not taking any dart throws on Malcolm Brown?
Oh, I was gonna say we do have a fullback on this slate, and his name is Malcolm Brown. He's about 300 pounds, and he just stands there on third down, wasting Kyron Williams' precious third down snaps. But no, not interested.
Ben Skowronek is actually a full.
Oh yeah, that's true. He is a full. Well, now he's a full-time receiver, but there was that experiment earlier in the season.
Yeah, Malcolm Brown, man, he played 18 snaps last game. So, and he's not even officially on the active roster, right? I think he's still on the practice squad and will have to be elevated. So it's
if he's not elevated, then it'll just be a Ronnie Rivers game. I think no matter what, McVay. I mean, honestly, they're probably just preserving Kyron for next season. He did come back from that injury that knocked him out for a while. So maybe they're just trying to be cautious with them. But yeah, it does look like Cam Akers is going to be the lead back the rest of the way. What were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
Is Tyler Higbee considered a dart throw at this point, or?
Man, yeah, I guess he's just blocking a lot more these days, and there's a new quarterback, so the potential for him to jump back up, but it doesn't seem promising because McVay is kind of deliberate with the receivers. When Higbee broke out, it was like, all right, they were, he was running routes and he was a major part of the game plan in the past.
Yep.
And this year, it seems like the exact opposite. So I don't know what's going on with McVay if certain guys just pissed him off this year. Between the Cam Akers hot and cold, the Darrell Henderson cut, Higbee disappearing, Allen Robinson really took weeks for him to do anything. It's just been an odd year. So I really do wonder what's going on behind closed doors when they're game planning for that offense. But I got Higbee at tight end 15. He's not the worst play, but I really think Atwell is the guy that's going to continue to break out on the Rams, and Skowronek probably as well, Jefferson, Atwell, Skowronek, those three guys. I think that's a pretty, if they continue playing well, that's a solid receiving core. Obviously, it's not Kupp and Woods. But I think McVay will be happy if those guys continue to play well. So yeah, Higbee looks like an afterthought. And our boy Lance McCutcheon looks like an afterthought as well, even though he had that crazy.
Oh yeah, no, he's not in play here. But I'm just wondering. What we saw Baker Mayfield do on Thursday night was just nothing short of a miracle. He was just basically winging it out there. So I'm just thinking after a week of practice, a more structured game plan, maybe Tyler Higbee gets a few catches here. That's all I was trying to get at. But looking forward to see Baker Mayfield, how he looks in game 2 here.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the opposite. It's probably with practice. Baker's probably going to throw a few to the other team this week. It's it's the come down game, isn't it?
Yeah, if anything, just fake an injury, sit out the rest of the season. Just let everybody think about that last game we just saw, because it's probably only going to get worse from there.
Yeah, and I did hear a rumor that there was a chance Stafford might retire, and then he's going to be back in the offseason. So I don't know what to believe, but there's at least an outside shot that Baker is in to be the future QB here. If McVay could make Goff go to the Super Bowl, Mayfield's probably not the worst option.
True.
But all right, that is going to luck rankings.
Rams. This is another close one. Rams ranked 23rd and Packers are 24th. So that's a luck ranking differential of 1. No play here. Do you have a lean here either way?
Nah, nothing yet. This is kind of it's probably cold weather games. Maybe I'll look at a prop in this one, but nothing as far as the side is concerned.
Yeah, especially since we don't know which Baker Mayfield we're going to get this week.
Yeah, just go Christian Watson anytime touchdown. Yeah,
there you go.
It's every week.
What is it, even money by now?
Probably
minus.
Yeah, probably minus 30.
Take him 2 touchdowns then for 5-1 odds or something.
Yeah, that's all he does. Score touchdowns. But that's gonna do it for the Week 15 Fantasy Flex Night Shift episode. To check out all of our fantasy and betting content, hit up actionnetwork.com. And for more great fantasy content from Sean and I, be sure to check out our full player projections episode out right now over on the Action Network podcast channel. And of course, our fantasy preview episode right here on the Fantasy Flex podcast. Also, check out the news and waivers episode of Fantasy Flex every Monday from Samantha Praviti and Mike Triplett. Be sure to follow Sean on Twitter at @the_oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon, and you can find us at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until next time, let's get this money.